So yes, participants, do you actually believe it to be true?
Yes.
Yes, madam. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I take it as a commitment, we'll together commit ourselves to this thing. I actually take time sometimes to make commitments that yes, because in this mad race of performance where there is so much of pressure actually of delivering the results, right? Of API scorecards and so many things, right? So it becomes difficult at times. But we are first and foremost teachers, and therefore this is something which should be kept in mind. So we'll proceed further to the next section of our talk, and which is really significant. It is about plagiarism, right? So what is plagiarism? We've been talking, we all know about it, right? So plagiarism is when you use someone else's ideas and put it as your own. And this is something which should be discouraged, and this is something which is actually dangerously harmful for entire, academic community. So different forms of plagiarism are there, and sometimes, unintentionally we actually end up in indulging in what is known as plagiarism. So different types of plagiarism are there. Complete plagiarism. What is complete? Have you all talked already about plagiarism? Yes.
Yes, madam. We are faced lots of time for plagiarism.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then what we can do, we can discuss, right? So what does complete plagiarism mean actually?
Madam, I am also in doubt because when I write my manuscript, I just take the statement of one scientist, which cannot we modify it because they are direct one statement. Like energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. It is stated by the scientist, particular scientist. We cannot change it. Like E is equal to mc square. We cannot change. When we are copying it and try to insert in our manuscript and check by Torrentine, so it shows the plagiarisms. So, madam, we are just doubtful. Please clarify it.
Yes. So such issues are there. So basically, 10. This is the reason why sometimes people say that 5 to 10% of plagiarism is, what can be ignored also because of such crippling circumstances. Only it is said that at times it is recommended that you use just inverted commas, right? To
Yeah.
actually, help with such situations where some details are there which are actually a part of day to day thought, and then you actually cannot go about quoting everything. But still, in such cases this can be recommended. For example, in humanities and social sciences, what we do, we put such things in italics, or at least in commas, inverted commas, right? Because at least the ideas actually belong to someone else. Now there are different types of plagiarism. We all know, and as you said that we are from teaching fraternity, we have been into research all the time. So my purpose in putting this here was to make you think about it once again. And when you go back, when you indulge in that academic enterprise again, you are rejuvenated, and you actually take into consideration everything. So complete plagiarism, when you actually copy the entire thing without giving any credit to the original writer. Source based plagiarism, when you are actually using information but you are not giving proper citation, so you actually are giving wrong references and all, then it will might come in source based references. Plagiarism, direct plagiarism, is actually when you present someone else's paper as your own, right? So direct plagiarism is there. Then self or auto plagiarism, this is something which I wanted to talk to you all about. When you actually go for such software checks at times, have you had any experience that our own paper is there and our own ideas are there, and then the plagiarism software tells us that this has been copied from here. So it is recommended that you have to be sure of self, not actually going for what is known as auto plagiarism or self plagiarism. Also means if you have published an article somewhere, and if you're using the ideas of our hypothesis of that article once again, then you must cite, right? Why? Because this is another form. In our next step, we'll be talking about this, right? So, what are different publication ethics which one needs to actually be careful about to follow? So, in publication ethics, there are certain things like redundant publication and duplicate publication and salami slicing. So, if you, if you indulge in any such thing, then at times what happens is self-plagiarism. So when once you have published a paper somewhere, after that you cannot actually publish those very same ideas to any other manuscript, any other journal, without citing. If you need that idea to develop your argument, and you have added to that existing lot of knowledge, then you would be bound to refer to it. But then you have to quote yourself also, to avoid to have you have to cite the original source there, to avoid self plagiarism. Then as at times we end up in what is paraphrasing plagiarism. So you end up paraphrasing the ideas of someone else. Means this is what is the easiest way. This is done by research scholars, paraphrasing plagiarism. So they'll actually use the ideas of someone else, they'll reword it, rephrase it, they'll change the structure of the sentences and grammar, and then what happens? The software doesn't check for error, because every word and structure of the sentence is already changed, the order is changed, so it will not show on software. But then this is very unethical. So paraphrasing plagiarism also should be avoided. Inaccurate authorship, when you are actually not careful enough to cite the original source. Then there is mosaic plagiarism. Scholars actually do indulge in this also. So they mix the ideas of people. So some ideas from here, some ideas from there, and their paper ready, right? So mosaic plagiarism also should be avoided. Then accidental plagiarism, when you accidentally forget to cite and you actually take someone else's information and present it as your own. So accidental plagiarism also should be avoided, right? Now, if we talk about different publication ethics, right, then some problems which have been seen with the practices of publication are, the scholars end up in publishing, what would be redundant publication. Now, redundant, duplicate, and overlapping publications, somehow the steps which they follow are more or less same, the intensity varies. So redundant publication is actually duplicate publication, like duplicate publication only. So repeated publication, you can say here. So when you write a paper and you actually submit it to many journals, right? Then what you are actually doing is, why? Because the reviewing process is very long. So at times what happens, we feel like submitting it to 2 or 3 journals, so that at least one gets published somewhere. But then, if this is a wrong practice and should be discouraged, because you actually give a declaration when you make submission to the journal that you have not submitted it anywhere else. So this should be discouraged. Duplicate publication is similar to redundant publication, only where the ideas more or less are same. You just change the title, and then you get it published again, right? So duplicate publications also should be discouraged or avoided. Overlapping publication is publication where you actually take ideas and develop it. The ideas do not change, only the paper and the line of argument changes. Then they are overlapping publications. Overlapping publications so should also be avoided. Last one is very significant. This is salami slicing. So ever heard of this term, salami slicing? What does it mean? Salami slicing? Yes?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Salami slicing is actually when you take up a study and it is very large, right? And then what you do is you break it into pieces and you publish the separate pieces as separate papers. So you do a research, a study, and then you, on the basis of the findings of the same study, you actually break the information, you give information in parts, and you publish 10 papers on the basis of same study. So what you are actually doing is again a breach of publication ethics. It is salami slicing, something which should be discouraged and which is not good. If we really want to develop a sound research culture, then we have to refrain from salami slicing also. So we should be willing to put in more effort and come up with some, more meaningful addition to the existing bunch of knowledge. For this, number should not count, and therefore, you should this should be discouraged. And this is where even the teachers and the supervisors at times fail to actually remind the students of this. So it's the same thesis, same ideas, 10 papers. So at times I have heard teachers themselves telling that you just take your thesis and publish independent chapters, right? So if you're doing this, then this is a breach of faith in the world of publication ethics, and this is something which you should not be indulging in, should not be actually practicing, and should not be slow in reminding your scholars also that no, this should be discouraged. The kind of papers which scholars publish, they are known as working papers, right? So the proper term for them is working paper. And what is the intention behind publishing working papers? Why is it that scholars are required to publish working papers? Why? Can anyone give me clue? So that the world of science may put up a critique. They're working on something very important, and counter arguments, counter perspectives, affirmations, or negations should be welcome, because then what will happen, it may actually help the scholar redefine his course of action, or if he's going right, then it will actually be good that way also. So working papers are published by scholars, so because they're working on that idea and they invite critique of the academic fraternity on that idea. And then if people are critical about it, if people come up with some counter perspective to it, then they actually would be defending it in the argument as they develop it. So this is something which should be kept in mind, right? So this is all I had to say as far as this publication ethics thing is concerned. Now, to make sure that you are adhering to all the publication ethics, you have to keep in mind these points. As far as approval and consent part is concerned, whether you have taken copyright issues are there, so you should not be slow in taking permissions, right? From the committees or the boards or the people whose results are you're using. Then data should be accurately presented. There should not be fabrication of data. This is something which happens a lot of time. If you do not get results, you fabricate data so that you can at least, because of the pressure of deadlines, timelines, you fabricate data so that your thesis or your this thing gets published. So fabrication of data should not be there. Falsification of data, manipulation in any way should not be there. Accuracy should be there, right? Fake data should not be used, because ultimately you are contributing to the world of knowledge, which is for the well-being of the society. So you cannot afford to go actually wrong in it. Then self-plagiarism should be discouraged. You should not copy your own ideas, right? Then submission fraud should not be there, submitting in two journals, either using salami slicing or duplicate publishing or and all. Then ethics of authorship means you have to, if there is a co-author, ghost author, at times you have no, you borrow ideas from guest author or ghost author. So if there are co-authors, then you have to properly give the credit to them all. And at times this happens, no, superiors end up not acknowledging the contribution of their uh, uh, junior faculty colleagues. So this should be avoided. It's not actually going to contribute, because when we take up research, our job is to further the tradition of knowledge. So we are there for the higher things, and such things should be discouraged. Then conflict of interest, if it is there, then you have to spell it out. You have to declare the conflict of interest. You don't have to hide it, right? So these are the things we should keep in mind. Now the house is open for questions, right? So we talked about the need of academic writing, structuring the text and conveying the argument, editing and proofreading, summarizing and paraphrasing, avoiding plagiarism and publication ethics. So now the house is actually open for questions.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, good evening. My name is Dr. Pachita Pavan Mohanty. I'm calling from, I'm here in Bhubaneswar. My
Yes, sir.
question regarding the paraphrasing, I have one doubt, during writing different kinds of research papers, and when we are doing any kind of, some kind of paraphrasing, is it possible to paraphrase the original citation of a particular author? Because when we are not paraphrasing it in the during the plagiarism test, when we are doing the software run of the Turnitin, it is some red color signals are coming, because that means you have copied from others. So what
Yes,
is your approach and what is your suggestions
it
regarding
is
this?
necessary, sir. This is the reason why paraphrasing is heavily used in research papers. And this is the reason why we said what we promote is that you, instead of quoting a lot, you should paraphrase. And paraphrasing doesn't mean not acknowledging the original source. You will be using in-text citations. So you will be giving the credit to the authors, but you would be rewording it. And this helps a lot with the plagiarism tools and all. So it has become an essential practice these days. And it is good also, right? Number of quotations do not add any value.
But
Let me
one thing,
complete,
yes,
sir.
yes,
Let me complete,
please,
and then
please,
you may
yeah.
actually look. Number of quotations do not add any value to the argument, right? The pieces of
Okay.
evidence, citations should be there, and the rewording is good because the flow of your text doesn't actually change when you are actually paraphrasing. So quoting should be discouraged, and paraphrasing should be used that way also, because then you would be putting your ideas, your ways, and you would be using their ideas to supplement it and using in-text citations to give credit. Yes, sir. Now, what were you saying?
No, suppose for an example, ma'am, I just cited your work. Suppose, yeah, and I give the in-text citation of Dr. Bandana, and whatever your, quotation, whatever your formulas I put in one paper, and when some other people, write in that formulas, then he or she maybe, paraphrase it. That is also possible or not?
Look, you're talking about citations from citations,
Ye-
right? Citation,
Yes,
quote
yes, yes,
within quote, you're talking about,
yes, yes.
right? So whenever quote within quote is there, what we recommend is that, one should be quoting the original source. The standard
Okay.
recommendation of MLA is this, that when you are actually using quote within quotes, then you should be using the original. It may deviate for APA. I actually, we are from English, so we prefer this MLA style sheet. So you have to read the style guide carefully. Every researcher should read the style guide, and the established notion of using quote
Okay.
within quote is that you have to cite the originals.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
If anyone else has any other questions, you can post it in the chat box or ask directly.
Dr. Vandana ma'am, no question
Yes.
from my side actually. You talked about so many things, and it was, the entire presentation was structured and so full of energy, enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Actually, as teachers, it is essential, no? Whenever we teach presentation skills, we tell the students that weak delivery would not do, right?
Right, right.
So it's really, I tell them that even if it is 7 in the evening, energy should not be, compromised with, because if it is not said with push, it will not be taken. I know that all what I have to talk about, you are from academic fraternity, we all are, but I would say that it is still meaningful. Every time I talk about it to you all, I am talking to myself also. I'm reminding myself that yes, all these, I'm committing to publication ethics. I'm actually showing me the ways. At times we miss on something. So it's important. We feel rejuvenated. Why do we do refresher courses and all? Because we feel rejuvenated, we feel re-energized, and we go with that new energy to the classes. So I thank you, sir. And I feel that every teacher, should deliver the things with push, because
Yes,
only
ma'am.
then
Yes.
it will be received that. Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sure, sure.
Thanks a lot, madam.
That is the way it works actually. Yeah.
Yes. And I tell my students also, there is no Devya Gyan you can give to them. It's all known. Your work is to inspire. And as teachers, I believe this, that my job is to inspire. And if I can inspire my students, there is no limit to knowledge, right? So this inspiration part for this, again, commitment is required, right? And
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
we
Thank
all
you.
are
Thank
one here, because the fact that you are here doing this, it itself, and at this hour, right from the morning 9, you have been sitting here. It shows your commitment to it. So we are one in this, sir. I
Sure,
share
sure.
this with you all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, madam.
Thank you.
So nice of you.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
hello, madam.
Yes.
Madam, would you like to clarify that it may be free of cost to the teachers, those are doing research and working inside the schools, but never linked with the IIT, IM, like all these central government institutions where the Turnitin plagiarism software available, and it can it
Sorry, sir.
able
No,
to
Turnitin is not available free of cost, sir. Academic institutions have to actually purchase it, right? As far as
yes,
my
madam.
knowledge goes.
Yes, madam. I know that they are purchasing, but can you suggest that they may help to the researchers? Those are working inside the school, colleges where not such software available
So
free of cost.
there are some softwares available. But I once heard this. I am not sure. I haven't done it myself. That there was a software, and when the scholar says that when she checked it on it, later on when she went about checking, it showed plagiarism, and the ideas were the same. So
Yes, ma'am.
using
Yes,
free
that's
tools is dangerous.
save in the cloud. You're right. You should not use the online softwares.
Yeah. So this is something which I suggest that we should, yes, but we all can make the suggestion that Turnitin should be made available to all academic institutions.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
This is a valuable suggestion.
At least the big institutions where resides, the peripheral institution may be benefited by this. Like IIT peripheral 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers in these organization may be benefited by IIT.
Yes, so we can render this service, sir. For instance, our library offers this service. If they can come with with a letter recommendation from a supervisor, then they can check the thesis. So
Yes, madam.
here I
Because
think our role becomes important.
because myself also getting more problem because I am working inside schools.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
In that,
understand,
ma'am,
sir.
in that case, what we can suggest, Dilip sir can request the authority of their school or college. They can purchase the software, so each faculty can use. That can be the.
Or if you can
facility.
approach nearby university also, because majority of the universities are having the software and they can provide for this service. So that also can be done, right?
Some of the university professors or college professors also have their individual login, their own purchase. So through
Yes.
discussion with such people, I think we can have the solutions.
I think that I don't know how it will, but when HEI clusters come, maybe we would be in a position to share the infrastructure, software, and such facilities also. So maybe, sir, this problem is short-term problem. Soon we are becoming clusters and not individuals. Maybe then we would be having more resources. I'm only trying to be, optimistic because the idea is good, but how it will actually be implemented is what matters. If it is implemented in right way, only then it will be meaningful. Otherwise, it will become.
We have till now 3 policies, madam. This is the 4th, I think. So you are
Yes.
so optimistic. Let us be optimistic. Yeah.
That's what I said, sir. I'm trying to be optimistic because
Yes, we need to be
implementation
optimistic. Yes.
policy is good. What
Yes,
will
ma'am.
matter is how we implement it.
Right.
If we twist and turn it, then it will be meaningless.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Good enough.
Madam, school teachers are facing lots of problem for the plagiarism checking.
I
Although they are
understand, sir. And this online platform is dangerous. So one should not go checking on online platforms also, right? So what I believe is that you should be writing to your authorities to approach the district administration. Maybe then it might work if you approach some university because every university has this pressure on it. So when you go for NAC accreditation and all, they do ask you what are your outreach programs, how you are contributing to the society, right? So if you approach, maybe the universities would be willing to help because we are willing to help because it counts for us how
Yes,
we are
madam.
contributing to the society, nearby people. It counts, and therefore I think they would be willing to offer such services. But some initiative would be required, and if you take that initiative, maybe others would be benefited, or at least this can be done. You bring this to the notice of education commissioner of your area, and then maybe he would initiate and it would be available to all the teachers that way. This can be done there, right? centralized system is there, followed there also, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this sir, would be very noble contribution. If you do this, then it would be really helpful, because if it happens, the facility is open for the teachers, then of course it will actually be a valuable contribution. That
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
thank you, sir.
So due to the paucity of time, we won't be able to take up any more questions. And I'm sorry, I really apologize for my inability to join your session in the beginning due to my class. I had a class from 2 to 3.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, I joined after 3. But it was really very engaging session, very informative. And I can see all the participants are taking part in it actively. Really glad to see this.
Thank you,
You
sir.
kept the participants engaged, because sometimes it's difficult to get any response.
No,
But
sir. They are all,
today I was surprised to see all the 3 sessions were very interactive. First session, I think, less, because sir's lecture was there, but second and third, your session and Dr. Mishra's session, it was very interactive, highly interactive sessions.
sir, I believe this will work with teachers, no?
Yeah, it's really useful.
Yeah.
So really,
Even
thank you
your
very much.
session on Sunday was also very interactive. We were
Sunday,
thoroughly
sir.
engaged after 6 also. Yeah.
Yeah, true, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for sparing your time and joining us, enlightening the
I'll
audience.
thank all the participants for lending their ears to me. Thank you, sir, for giving me your precious time and listening to me. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vandana madam. Thank you,
sir.
Prabhaji.
It was
Yeah,
really
so
nice talking to you.
now I invite Ms. Kashyapi Ghosh to propose formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vandana ma'am, for such a interactive session, and it was very good. You walked us through the subtle nuances of academic writing. Also, the ice-breaking session was really, really innovative from your end. Also, thank you goes to the participants for actively engaging, of course, in a post-lunch session. We also thank our sponsors, AICTE Training and Learning Academy. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, once again. Okay, Pankaj, you can end the session now.